Hey Scott, thanks for the videos. Hope you're doing well. Um, Decided to throw a ball myself just to maybe help me figure out what I feel or let you see what I do. Um, I just realized I'm not right-handed, I'm left-handed. Somehow I learned to play golf right-handed, but throwing, um, obviously I can't do perfectly as a right-hander. But let's do a little compare and contrast if you'd like. So there's the top of your throwing motion. Let's see, no, I'm probably 30% less flexible than you. Um, but that'd be my standard right arm position if I could get it there. If my left arm would stay nice and straight, that'd be beautiful. But that'd be where I would be to throw minus my left arm on the ball. So my right arm is just a little bit more bent. Otherwise, I'd say our body parts are pretty similar otherwise. Let's watch you, well, that's me, switch to A. Let's get you down into delivery position, which would be P6 or just about there, okay? So what I see, looks like you're a little under-rotated here with the torso. And then when you get to where release would be about there, you can probably tell, let's get the line tool, you're going to be a little bit more vertical looking in your spine than me. Let me get going here. Okay, so there's my P6. Let's back you up a couple frames. So what looks different there? I certainly appear, in my eyes, to be a little bit more tilted to the right, even though you can't see it that well from the camera view. And maybe a little bit more rotated through this area, right? So I don't know if that helps. I would invite you to watch this a couple times. Again, I'm no world-class Nerf ball throwing expert, but I think I do a pretty good job of modeling a basic, what Mr. Hogan described as a combination of a sidearm throw and an underarm throw, which is basically a golf swing. So let's get you to release point, and let's get me there if I can. So there's letting the ball go. So again, you can probably tell for me, I look a little bit more tilted to the right than you do. So I'd say if we're going to work on throwing the ball, we need to make sure that we're not keeping the spine too vertical as we turn our body to the net, okay? And I'd like to see, well, I'd like you in the perfect world, right, to look kind of like me here, where the right arm is still fairly bent, which yours might be a little bit more extended away from you, right? So that's something else you could work on. We'll go back and forth on this because I know this is not highly scientific comparing two people throwing a ball, but hopefully you picked up a couple things from that. Let's advance to video number 2, which is face on. And that looks great. It's a good amount of rotation in the upper body. Can't tell what the hips are doing. Just remember, we're not trying to turn our hips Bobby Jones style. I'm thinking from what I could gather watching him swing, he probably had a 75-degree hip turn. We don't want to overturn the hips, but I don't want you to, completely halt them from turning, because I don't believe in the old Jim McLean, I forget what's it called, X Factor. That can cause a lot of issues, but otherwise you look good. Club face is very strong position, so we shouldn't have to worry about the ball going to the right, even though this is a practice swing. That's a strong face position. And here I like where your hands are going to get it, covering the right leg. Now I can't tell. Let's reshoot this one maybe tonight or tomorrow. and send it back from down the line, because I have a feeling that what I'm seeing here in this section is just more arm drive than torso rotation. So I want to make sure we don't let that get out of hand, but I do like where the club, where the hands are. And then now we just have to let it go as we continue to rotate, right? We don't want to just stand there and flick the wrist, but we do want to continue rotating, letting the club get to the ball. So that part looks really good. And of course, this is not in real motion, but I'd key in on that downswing and making sure I'm not just pulling my arms across my chest. That we do want to make sure the body's turning. So let's shoot that one again from down the line. And then, nope, that'll be this guy. Let me import this over here. All right, so I'll show you a face-on view as well of me doing this. And then we'll go down the line. It's a pretty standard one piece as the hands pass the right leg. Then you'll see from the other view right about here, I'm going to start letting my wrist set a little bit, getting that stick pretty much horizontal to the ground. Then my next feel is find my right arm with the tool. So there we go there. And again, have nowhere near the flexibility that you do in my left arm, so that'll be my top. Now you're going to see a gentle, nope, there's my top. A little bit of a shift to the whole body left to get the weight moving. And then you're going to see me slowly unwind the core. And you can tell this is going to start to break off a tiny bit, okay? And we'll go a couple more frames. Hands are just about covering the right leg. And this is give or take close enough to horizontal. And now we start letting it go, which means the back of the left hand is going to start squaring up to the imaginary target as we're turning the chest through continuously, and then on up. And then I'll show you now a comparison if it needs to be done at all. Not sure. We'll look at it. So that'd be approximately P2. So very similar there. My stick is just a little bit more angled forward than yours. That's just my preference. Now you're going to find the right arm with the tool. Whoops. I don't know why this program likes to skip around like that. So there's P2 for me. There's 3. Left arm is parallel to the ground, give or take. You can see the angles of the tool are about the same with both of us. Hand location pretty much centered behind on the right pec. There's my top. And of course yours is going to be more vertical because you're more flexible. And hey, if you can get there, perfect, okay? Because my left arm's not so flexible, my appearance is going to be a little bit flatter with my arms, but again, nothing to worry about. All right, let's get you going to, that's your 4. All right, there's your 5. And again, it certainly looks like you're working the hands more than the pivot. Let's see what I might look like. You can see my hips are a little bit more squared up than yours, just a little bit. And I've started to move my chest around a little bit more. There's my 6. Let's see where your 6 is at. So there was your 5. And there's your 6. So we're fairly similar, right? It's just I feel like my torso starts especially with this tool connected to my right arm, from 4 to 5 to 6, I feel like my torso is actually engaged more than it appears yours is. But you're definitely in a pretty good 6. Can't tell any difference hardly at all. Let's see how you get to 7, which would be impact. Okay, so I'm guessing by your line of sight, that's probably impact. So again, I'd say the difference, it appears to me, is that you have less side bend to the right, even though it's hard to see from this vantage point. It seems like you're a little bit more, like the top of your spine is centered over your lower spine, you know, with like the top to be a little bit to the right side of the spine, so that we get that right side under and through, which keeps the right arm a little shorter so that we don't have to throw out our angles too quickly in the downswing. So that'd be the difference in the look between us at 7. And yours, just a little different. You know, I just made sure that this found my left shoulder on the follow through. That's really not super critical. But again, you can see what appears to be, to me, a little bit less spine tilt, more vertical spine for you, but more tilted for me. Okay, so the more we keep this body tilted towards the ball, the more consistent our low point can be, right? If we start the downswing and we're just firing the arms, and the upper spine gets a little bit in front of the lower spine and never kind of catches back up to leveling out, then we may have to engage right elbow straightening and wrist straightening to get to the ball. We don't want to do that, okay? So that's some starting answers to some questions you had on these 3 videos. We'll continue the dialogue and let me know any questions you come up with, okay?